What's going on, everybody? It's Phil here, and welcome to my AEW Continental Classic 2024 breakdown video. In this video, we're going to be breaking down the entirety of the 2024 Continental Classic, telling you guys who is in each block for this year's tournament, and ultimately who I think will be going to the league finals for both the Blue and the Gold Leagues, and the Ultimate Championship final, which will be taking place at AEW World's End at the end of December. We got a pretty stacked field this year, and with the three matches that are already announced for tomorrow night's AEW Dynamite, we're going to be seeing one of the best tournaments that AEW has honestly ever produced. I love the concept of the Continental Classic. It's literally a mixture of what the G1 Climax is for New Japan Pro Wrestling and what the Bound for Glory series was when it comes down to TNA. And, you know, I just love the concept. I love a good round robin tournament. And last year's Continental Classic was one of the best tournaments that AEW has ever put out there. So this one really has something special about it, and I can't wait to break it down with y'all. But before we get right into the breakdown, make sure you guys hit that like button, turn on the bell for all notifications as you subscribe to the channel. That way you guys never miss another upload right here on the YouTube channel. This is going to be a weekly series right here on the YouTube channel. Every single time a week of the Continental Classic is done, I'll be right here making a video for you guys on what happened and ultimately how the tournament is shaping up. So stay tuned for the rest of the series moving forward. But now, let's break down the Continental Classic for 2024. First up, the rules. There's really not much to it. There is a 20-minute time limit for each match that's going to be taking place in this Continental Classic. You get 3 points per win, 1 point if you get a time limited draw with your opponent, and obviously 0 points if you lose the match. And everybody is banned from ringside. So what this tournament is really all about is you just getting great professional wrestling matches each and every single week, and ultimately seeing who is the better wrestler out of the two and the best wrestler coming out of the tournament. And when it comes down to the participants of this year's tournament, there are two blocks, one Gold League and one Blue League, and 6 participants are in each block. So a total of 12 participants compete in the Continental Classic. In the Gold League, you have Darby Allin, Claudio Castagnoli, Will Ospreay, Ricochet, Juice Robinson, and Brody King. And then in the Blue League, you have the Continental Champion going in, Kazuchika Okada, Shelton Benjamin, the TNT Champion, Daniel Garcia, the Beast Mortos, Mark Briscoe, and Kyle Fletcher of the Don Callis family. As you can see represented in these two blocks, everybody will face each other in their respective blocks, and at the end of the day, we're just trying to figure out who is going to get the most points to get to the league finals. And the league finals will be determined by whoever has the most points in the block. So we can be seeing a one-on-one match. We could be seeing a triple threat match. There is a ton of possibilities when it comes down to the point system for this year's Continental Classic. You have the two league finals when it comes down to the Blue League and the Gold League, and whoever comes out on top of that league final will advance to the championship final, which will be taking place at AEW World's End. Now, who do I ultimately see coming out into these league finals and really trying to make a name for themselves within this Continental Classic? I see 3 names when it comes down to the Blue League in specific. You got the Continental Champion going in, Kazuchika Okada. You have the TNT Champion, Daniel Garcia, and then you have Don Callis family member, Kyle Fletcher. Those 3 names to me really speak out when it comes down to the Blue League, mainly because of all the stories that are going to be told within this tournament, within that block specifically. And, the Continental Champion going in is going to have a great chance to possibly even make it to the finals, considering, just how good he is. I mean, he's Kazuchika Okada, for God's sakes. Daniel Garcia really had a great story coming out of last year's Continental Classic when he participated, as he may have only won 1 match throughout the entire block, but he showed a lot of perseverance, and ultimately now, from where he was back then, he is a TNT champion, and he finally just won his first singles championship within AEW, so I'm really hoping that they have a great story for him moving forward within this Continental Classic. And then when it comes down to Kyle Fletcher, he just got a huge victory over Will Ospreay at this past AEW pay-per-view. And, with that kind of a victory over Will Ospreay, this propelled him to the Continental Classic, and this should propel him into bigger and better things throughout this tournament. So I'm really hoping that he has a great showing within this as well. I wouldn't even mind it if the Blue League final ended up being a triple threat match between Daniel Garcia, Kazuchika Okada, and Kyle Fletcher, because these are the three most likely that I see coming out of the tournament, making it to the Blue League final. And then when it comes down to the Gold League, it's literally a who's who, and I can easily see at least 4 out of the 6 participants in the Gold League make it to that league final. And those 4 participants would be Darby Allin, Claudio Castagnoli, Ricochet, and Will Ospreay. And then what makes things really interesting is the championship final at AEW World's End, because the Continental Champion going into the tournament, Kazuchika Okada, has to really be defending his championship throughout this entire tournament. And if he's even able to make it to that championship final, in terms of points being added up, he could even lose this championship without even really having to be pinned or, because of the whole point system situation. So, there's a ton at stake when it comes down to the Continental Classic. And then when it comes down to the championship final, if I were booking things, I would have it as 2 options. One option being Will Ospreay taking on Kyle Fletcher. Once again, we just saw it, I know, but at the end of the day, that would be a great way to settle this Continental Classic. You can even have Mark Davis come on in and ultimately cost Will Ospreay and him officially turning heel, joining the Don Callis family. Or the second option that I would have would be Will Ospreay taking on the AEW Continental Champion going into this tournament, and that is Kazuchika Okada. You can have Kazuchika Okada go through the entire tournament to get to AEW World's End to really try to defend that AEW Continental Championship, and I think that would be a great story to tell. But overall, this year's Continental Classic has the makings of being one of the best tournaments that AEW has ever produced. We got a stacked field of 12, and I'm really looking forward to seeing what we have in store for the stories that are going to be told within this tournament and beyond. I'm really looking forward to the 3 matches that are going to be happening tomorrow night on AEW Dynamite, and here are my official predictions for each of those matchups. Starting off with Darby Allin taking on Brody King, I'm going with Darby Allin. I'm going with Darby Allin mainly because of the fact that I think this would be a great way to really just kick things off for the Continental Classic, and I really do think that there's going to be a story between the both of them when it comes down to their friendship and ultimately the alliance that, could possibly be happening between the House of Black and Darby Allin. So we'll see where things go, but I'm going with Darby Allin. Then you got Mark Briscoe taking on Shelton Benjamin, and I'm going with Shelton Benjamin here. The Hurt Syndicate got to continue that momentum, and ultimately, Shelton Benjamin picking up his first win in this Continental Classic would be a great way to keep on doing that. And then finally, we got Ricochet taking on 1/3 of the AEW World Trios Champions, Claudio Castagnoli. And I'm actually going to go with Ricochet on this one. I know, pinning 1/3 of the Trios Champions is kind of out there, especially with what's happening with the Death Riders as of right now. And I do think the Death Riders are going to have a massive, stake within this tournament specifically, with Claudio being in there. But I think Ricochet starting off with a victory in the Continental Classic is the best way to go. And ultimately, we'll see where his standings lie within this Continental Classic. But that's it, guys. That's my breakdown of this year's AEW Continental Classic. Stay tuned for the rest of the series, because this year's Continental Classic is going to be one of the best they ever produced. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you guys hit the like button on your way out. Subscribe to the channel if you are new, and turn on the bell for all notifications. That way you never miss another upload right here on the YouTube channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys after week 1 takes place. Out for the